Hey friends, it's me, Nova. It's your resident Chaldean cutie, and she's here in all of her beauty and transness, here to talk to you today about shame. Let's talk about shame, baby. Let's talk about shame with your identity. This topic hits home. It's important because it's something I've been thinking about a lot. I've just been seeing it in the world. We all kind of see it. We all feel it. I obviously am going to talk to you about like how this relates to being trans, but also I want to touch on where it's kind of like really prevalent. I'm finding it's like one of the main reasons in society that is holding everyone back from kind of just being themselves, and also from doing good on other people and being able to do good for yourself too. Of course, everything is kind of from my own perspective. My thoughts sometimes are a little spontaneous, but I also did some research on this because nothing's more annoying than someone who talks about something they don't understand. What I researched, what I found, and where I'll start is the difference between shame and guilt. It forced me to really look back and realize how I was confusing the two. Was I feeling guilty because I did something bad or something that that went against my character or what I would do? Or was I feeling shitty about myself in regard to something that either I did or somebody else did? If you're feeling bad about yourself and it's like a hit on your character and it's more inward, that's shame. I think there's a very important difference there, because I think people who can feel guilty can look at a situation and then take accountability for it. You're more capable of taking accountability, and then you're more capable of growing and learning. Oh, I did that. It was really shitty. It wasn't good for the other person or for other people, and it wasn't good for myself. And that sucks, but now I know not to do that, and I know that it makes me feel really bad to do that. So I don't want that to be who I am, and it doesn't make me who I am. If you feel shame, well, you're internalizing that a lot, and it's kind of hard to get out of something when you internalize, and it's hard to actually see the accountability that you have to take on and the empathy. Having guilt means that you can empathize with people. Feeling shame means you can't really empathize with anyone because you're just so focused on yourself. And obviously shame itself as a word, as its definition, and as its application to everything around us, it's not always something that you do. It's something that affects you and gives you a perception of yourself that affects other people. That's where we go into being trans. Shame is kind of the root of how society gets you to do things. Shame you for wearing what you want to wear, and then you feel like you have to conform and compromise yourself. Or shame you for something that you should think of yourself as really beautiful, but you're not thinking of yourself as beautiful, so you feel bad about it, and then that kind of like carries forward into your actions and what you do in accordance with society and the people that live with you. As trans people, we often feel a lot of shame, either based off of our expression or our identity, if we're aware of it. If you're obviously feeling shamed for your feelings towards that and how you're trying to, or even just the process of processing feelings. There's a lot of shame that goes around, especially in Middle Eastern culture, because, well, there's a right and wrong way to do things, and if you right and wrong way to do things is how I'll say that again, which obviously there isn't, because life is nuanced. People are different. Everybody has something different about them. Everything is unique in its own way. Everything's unique but not unique at the same time. Both can be true. There's just a lot of rampant shame, like especially on men. I've noticed there's a lot of shame on men for having feelings or having the ability to process or to be vulnerable or to accept a part of yourself that doesn't directly negate your masculinity, anything to do with a femininity. I feel like every time I say femininity, I sound like that little fish from Finding Nemo. Anemone or something. Like, I feel like I sound like that whenever I say femininity. Anyway, I think that has a huge effect on gender and those who fluctuate in between, you know, whether you're binary or non-binary, whether you are Bon Jovi or Bonary. For me, shame kind of put me in a loop in my life for a very long time. I was not capable of really seeing what was going on with my identity head on because I was so ashamed of being feminine, and I was so ashamed of what that might mean for me. I mean, I had another friend of mine who passed away. I miss them so much, but they were actually trans, and they were kind of like the first trans person I ever knew. I do remember some like blackout moments in my life where I may have approached them a couple times about my own personal identity, but I remember being so ashamed of myself that I even forgot those interactions. I even forgot that I was questioning myself, and it happened so early on. And like in high school, when you're ashamed of any aspect of your identity, of yourself, of your soul, of your feelings, of just how you view the things and the world, it can send you into some really, really bad cycles. And so it followed through up until I started transitioning. Actually, I had to hit an all-time low. I actually had to get in trouble with the law to really open my eyes up and understand, like, I have to really love myself and reconcile whatever's going on internally. And this is all kind of part of my coming out story, which is a huge, long list of smaller coming outs that I've had throughout my life that led up to this. But sometimes internalized shame can really get you to hurt yourself, hurt other people, and whether that's emotional, physical, verbal, like, it can really be the driving force for everything that's fucked up in the world. I actually think it is. I think if America, let's just talk about America alone, if it can get over its shame of itself, if white people can just get over their own internalized shame, we might actually be able to get out of a sticky situation. But unfortunately, that's harder to come by. Whether you are someone who is dealing with shame imposed by just parents and your upbringing. People can recognize this with narcissists, if you've ever dealt with a narcissist. I watch a lot of Dr. Ramani's videos. She has a lot of content on narcissism and all of the different types. I urge you, if you are involved with someone like that, to love yourself enough to go and check out those videos if you're involved with anybody who's a narcissist, because the basis, from what I can gather, of whatever's going on with people like that is shame. It's internalized shame. You have a sense of shame in you. You're not able to empathize with people, and you're not able to feel guilty for your actions. You just feel really shitty about what you're doing, and then you at the same time feel shitty about yourself, and then you just get wrapped up in another cycle and start hurting more people, and and then you start feeling bad about that. So it's just like a vicious cycle. Shame can definitely send you into a vicious cycle. So that's kind of like my take on shame. Shame, 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 shame. Like, you know, the Game of Thrones bitch. She's like, shame, shame, shame. You should just embrace that you are a multifaceted organism with a brain that likes to feel things physically and emotionally. You like to say things, you like to do things, you like to have thoughts, and you like to have opinions, and it's all okay. We're just walking batteries. Come on now. Nothing to be ashamed of here. Anyway, I would like to have this as like a much more broad discussion, because I think this isn't something that I can like kind of lecture people about, because it's such a huge topic, And I would love to hear personal stories of people. So I'm not just saying this because I want like engagement and shit, which is nice, but like I actually want to hear people tell me things about themselves that does relate to this topic. So hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on YouTube with a comment, share this to anybody and have this discussion, because we need to start feeling less shameful about ourselves, because we need to start literally showing a level of humanity to each other and allow each other to exist as we are. Just love yourself. Really work on loving yourself. Okay, so I think I'm done. I don't know why you're like still hanging around, but I think I'm done.